Hello and welcome to Chapter 4, Lesson 6, where we are going to learn how to create clipping masks, also how to fill a clipping mask, and how to create clipping masks effects. So our final project will look something similar to this, where we have a clipping mask with multiple gumballs, and then up here you'll see just a basic clipping mask. So we need to go to File, Open, and of course we're going to go to Business Handouts, Shonifer, Computer Graphics, Illustrator, and Chapter 4. So now we need to open up 4-14, and we're just going to make a basic clipping mask to start with. So once that is open, I want you to go to your view and then scroll down until you see the option of Mask 1. Once we see Mask 1, what we're going to do is we are going to go to our selection tool. Click on the path of our rectangle, and we're going to drag and drop it over our yellow gumballs. Once we have that over our gumballs, we're going to make sure that it's in front. So we're going to go to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. Sorry about that. Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. So now we can ensure that we're going to create the clipping mask, and it's going to be the shape of the rectangle, and whatever's behind that is going to be what shows through. So what we do now is we need to make sure that we select our spheres behind it so that it knows what image it's supposed to come through in the clipping mask. So having the rectangle selected, holding down our Shift key, and then selecting all of our circles. Okay, once we have all of those selected, what we are going to do is we're going to go to Object, and then go down here to the bottom where it says Clipping Mask, and then select Make. And now you'll see that it's the shape of the rectangle and just the spheres are showing through. So let's go to our view and then go to Mask 2 so that we can create our second mask. You're going to go to your selection tool, click on your circles, and bring them up. Click and drag to where they cover these colored spheres. Now you're going to hold down your Shift key and select the group of spheres behind. And when you click on one sphere, all of them should be selected. And then we're going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and now you'll see that only the circle shape is available, but the colors from behind are coming through. Let's go ahead and apply a stroke on this one as well. So I want you to deselect, and then just select your circles, and you're going to go to Stroke Weight of 1, and then a stroke color of black, and you should have something very similar to mine. Now what you're going to do is save this one as last name, comma, first name, simple mask. Save that on your H drive, and we will turn that in with our other objects here in a minute. So the next one we're going to do is learn how to use clipping masks to apply a fill and kind of alter the look of things. Our final project will look like this. So we need to go to File, Open, and then we're going to select 4-15. Select Open, and the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and rename this one last name, comma, first name, magnify. So over here, last name, comma, first name, magnify. And then let me go back to mine for you. And we're going to be in 4-15. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our selection tool and move our large text over our small text to where the G's kind of align. Then deselect and select your small text behind it, which is sometimes a little difficult. But once that is selected, we're going to Object and Hide and our selection. So now only the large text is showing. So then what we're going to do is we're going to select a circle of our magnifying glass, hold down Shift, and also select the handle so that we move both at the same time. We're going to click and drag to where we cover up the G. So a little bit of the N will show it. It probably covers up most of the A, and it's going to look something like this. Then we are going to deselect everything by clicking anywhere on our artboard, and then just select our circle. Then we're going to go to the Object in our application bar, go to Clipping Mask, and Make. Oh, sorry. We also need to hold down Shift and select our word behind it. So now we have the word and the circle selected and not the handle. We can go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. And so now you'll see just the letters that were within that circle. So now we're going to go ahead and deselect all by clicking anywhere on our whiteboard. And then we want to select just our clipping mask. So we can do that by going to Select, and then Object, and then it should give us an option called Clipping Mask. So we're going to select just our clipping mask. And now we are going to use the swatch panel, and we're going to make sure that we have our fill selected. And we're going to select just a light blue color. And then we're going to come over to our stroke, make sure that our stroke is selected, and we're going to select a gray color, so ash or graphite, whichever one. And then we're going to change our stroke weight to a 8 point. So it kind of looks like a magnifying glass now. So next what we're going to do is we are going to deselect all by clicking on our artboard. And then we want to show that other smaller magnify word that we had by going to Object and Show All, and then deselecting everything. And now you'll see that it kind of looks like the words are enlarged over where that magnifying glass is. The other thing that you can do just to kind of see how it works is let's select our mask only. So we're going to Select, Object, and Clipping Mask, and then hold down your Shift button and select the handle of the magnifying glass. And then use your arrow keys to move it over, and you'll see that as we move it, it gives the illusion of magnifying just that particular section of the word, which is very neat. So go ahead and save this, and you will turn it in once we finish our last project on this. Okay, so next we're going to learn how to use text as a clipping mask, kind of like we did in Photoshop, and then also add different effects to it. So your final project will look like this, but to start we need to go to File, Open, and we need to open 4-16 right here at the bottom. Once that's open, go ahead and save it as last name, comma first name, space dash space, mask effects. As you'll see, I have mine saved. So last name, comma first name, mask effects. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the 4 letters that make up the word mask. So let's go to our selection tool, and then we're going to click on the M, hold down Shift, click on the A, still holding Shift, clicking on the S and the K. Once we have those all selected, we are going to convert these to outlines. And to do that, sorry, mine deselected, so clicking on all these, converting them to outlines by going to Type, and then selecting Create Outlines, but it looks like I have already done that, and you may have as well. Then making sure they're selected again by holding down that Shift key, and then we're going to create a compound path. We're going to go to Object, Compound Path, and then Make. Now what we're going to do is we are going to, with the letter still selected, hold down our Shift key and select the rectangle behind it as well. And then we're going to go to our object to create a clipping mask. Come down to the bottom, do clipping mask, and make. And so now you'll see just our text is shining through with that color from the rectangle behind it. Now what we're going to do is take our selection tool and take this curvy line and move it over our word mask, and just kind of wherever you want it, just so that it's over our image. And we are going to cut this curvy line either by going to Edit and Cut or hitting Control and X. Then we are going to use our Direct Selection tool to select the rectangle behind our clipping mask, or in front of our clipping mask. And when you know you have the rectangle selected is when you have that blue outline. So go ahead and click once that appears, and then we're going to go to Edit and Paste in Front. And so now when you deselect by clicking anywhere on your artboard, that curvy line comes through just on the text. So we're going to do the same type of strategy with adding these dotted lines over our letter. So going to the Selection tool, dragging it over, and then doing your Control X to cut, going to your Direct Selection tool, selecting that rectangle, and then going to Edit, Paste in Front. So now we have our dotted line somewhere on our K. So let's do the same thing with our S by going back to our selection tool, moving this orange dotted line up over the S, Control C, going to Direct Selection, selecting that rectangle, Edit, Paste in Front, going to Selection Tool, moving the green up, Control C, or X, sorry, I think I've been saying Control C, Control X, clicking on that rectangle, Edit, Paste in Front, and then finally Selection Tool again, moving that last one up, then Control X, Direct Selection Tool, selecting our rectangle, Edit, Paste in Front. And so now you have all those dotted lines moved up and over our letters. And then we are going to save this. You should already have it named last name, comma, first name. So save this. And you're going to turn in your Simple Mask, your Magnify, and your Mask Effects all under your clipping mask assignment in Google Classroom. Once you have returned that in, you are going to go to the book and do the assignments on 4-50 and 4-51.